Adam Taxin here with former outfielder Von Hayes. This will go up on Nails Nation on YouTube. He was a Philly from 83 to 91, and so he was not on the 93 team, but he was there when Darren, I guess, first came to the team in 83, and I just was wondering if you could, talk about how you saw him evolve as a person into the leader that he was, that everyone was talking about today.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when Darren first came to the club, I mean, up to that point, I was one of the only single guys on the team. I mean, we had an older club.
Right.
When I first got there. Most of the guys were all married, with the exception of Larry Christensen. Then he retired right away. And then Darren comes. Mm-hmm. So we were immediately attracted to each other to hang out and just be friends but Darren was special because when he first came to the Phillies, he was more like a little brother to me. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end of our, after the Phillies, our careers and my career was over, he became like a big brother to me. I mean, mm-hmm. he evolved in such a way, and he was such a leader, and he was just a wonderful person and a great friend.
Mm-hmm. So he was a big part of your life and the team even before he was a regular starter, because Lance Parrish was there, Ozzie Virgil.
No doubt, and the only thing that kept Darren down from establishing himself as a superstar in the big leagues was injuries. I mean, Darren battled through quite a few injuries with his knees, and I remember the game when he was taken out at home plate against the St. Louis Cardinals, and he hung in there to the last second on a throw that was coming in from second base. And just blew his knee out, it was just one thing after another with Darren. You see the potential, you see the, the person, his attitude was good, and then he would get hurt, mm-hmm. and we'd have to wait another year or so. And he worked hard as through rehab every time he got hurt, and then he finally got a chance. I believe it was 1989 or so when. Yeah. He got a chance to hit second in the lineup.
Right.
So he hit right after, I believe, Milt Thompson led off that year. I hit third. So.
And then Lenny came in June.
That's right. No, Lenny. That's right. Lenny came in later, and so Lenny was leading off. So, we talked. I said, Darren, you got speed in front of you, and you got, myself and Mike Schmidt behind you. Mm-hmm. I said, if you're a good selective hitter, so you're going to get some good pitches to hit. Mm-hmm. Now's your time. And boy, did he make he made the best of a good opportunity, and the rest was history. For the next 5 or 6 years, he was a superstar.
I think what's pretty amazing that people don't realize is, as a catcher, he led the league in RBIs in 1992, which is so hard to do. I mean.
Oh, there's no doubt. Not only that, I mean, he hit in a spot in the order that a lot of catchers don't want to hit. They don't want to hit early in the order, a lot of them, because they want to concentrate on their defense at the start of the games, mm-hmm. So it's hard to get a catcher to agree to hit third, fourth, or fifth. Those guys are special, mm-hmm. and Darren was definitely one of those guys. He never said no to the challenge.
And what was pretty amazing is he played like 154 games that year in '93. I mean, he just didn't want to come out of the lineup. And as I was just talking about with Milt Thompson, they had a lot of platooning that year, but one place that they did not have platooning was at catcher, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and what the amazing part about that was, you look at his history prior to those years, he battled through a lot of serious injuries. Mm-hmm. So when he, so it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of guts to get to that point, and then once you're out there, there's still a lot of pain from those previous surgeries. And he got through it and played hard, and was everything that the Phillies wanted out of him.
Can I ask you a few questions about yourself, just because people might be wondering what you've been up to in the last few years?
Well, over the past 15 years, I've been, in and out of baseball. Mm-hmm. I've been managed teams. I was at different organizations. I still love baseball. I still mm-hmm. look for opportunities to manage or coach throughout the minor leagues. Mm-hmm. I'm not that interested in the big leagues. I mean, I kind of like developing the young players. The last 3 years I was in Mexico managing, so I'm ready to be back in the States and help out an organization.
Vaughn, you just made me think of a question. How much easier is it as a manager if you have a guy like Darren in the clubhouse? I don't think people necessarily appreciated what he did for Jim Fregosi.
Yeah, it's huge. It's not only Darren as a player and a leader, but it's the relationship a manager has to have between his catcher. Mm-hmm. And the catcher and the manager are very important for successful teams. I mean, that's the manager is going to go through that catcher, has to communicate on every pitch, and you have to have a catcher that thinks along the same lines. You have to share a game plan together. It's like the quarterback of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Very important person, very important position, and you know, Darren he was everything that you would want out of a catcher.
When you saw how much fun that the Phillies had in '93, you had been traded between the '91 and '92 seasons, if I remember correctly, for Ruben Amaro Jr., right?
Right, and Kyle Abbott, I think.
Okay.
Or somebody.
And did you feel like you sort of missed out, especially because your first year with the Phillies, you went to the World Series with some Hall of Fame players?
No doubt, no doubt. It was tough at the beginning and tough at the end. You know, the beginning especially because the prior year against the Baltimore Orioles that beat us in 1983. Right. I killed that team with the Indians. That was probably the one team in the entire American League that I had the most RBIs against.
Really?
I mean,
Man, some good pitchers
had some very good games against that particular team. So when I watched my team lose in the World Series that first year, very difficult for me to sit back. But it was, you know, I put myself in that position.
What do you mean by that? You were a young guy.
I wasn't playing well. So,
you were how old? 21.
Joe LaFave took the job from me. So the manager absolutely did the right thing. It was Paul Owens and Bobby Wine, and there's no regrets there. I just feel bad that I didn't play well enough to hold onto my job to help that team win the World Series that year.
But by the next year, when you were 22 years old, it was your position.
So then flash forward to 1993 when the Phillies went to the World Series. Right. I had already been out of the game for a year at that point.
Oh, you were only 1 year with the Angels.
With the Angels, and trying to play through some injuries, and I just wasn't right. And the Phillies actually asked me in 1993 if I would come back and go to their AAA and try to work my way back, which that's the kind of class organization they were. But physically, I just wasn't ready yet. I was still trying to rehab my wrist that I was having problems with, and I just wasn't ready. And then the following year, when I went to minor league camp with the Brewers, my wrist broke down again, and that was it.
Okay, got it. And finally, do you do anything with social media? Do you still connect with fans ever?
You know, I'm not a big social media guy. I don't even do Facebook. But I do the internet, and I do follow the Phillies on the internet. And obviously,
kind of a rough year.
I love to talk baseball, and I love talking with fans. But it's just kind of, I've been out of the loop a little bit, and I've been, like I said, I've been in Mexico the last 3 years managing.
All right, I have been with Von Hayes here, and I really appreciate your talking to me today.